everything that we've been talking about, like what's wrong with the WNBA, what's wrong with diversity, equity, and inclusion, what's wrong with this race agenda, what's wrong with this Black Queens agenda. And so he's written a story about Nike and why Nike has been reluctant to take advantage of Caitlin Clark.
You got me down again.
The Indiana Fever's 2024 WNBA playoff elimination at the hands of Alyssa Thomas and the Connecticut Sun has sparked major concerns for the league. Losing in the first round 87-81, Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest rookie star, is now out of the spotlight, and this has serious implications for the WNBA's viewership and revenue. The Fever's resurgence with Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston leading the charge was one of the biggest storylines of the season. After being written off with a rough start, they fought their way to the 6th seed, making their first postseason appearance since 2016. But the narrative takes a sharp turn as Clark's early exit has left the WNBA scrambling for ways to maintain interest in the playoffs.
Handful of games this season, mainly when they were playing against Caitlin Clark. WNBA players, they have finally experienced what it feels like to play in front of people who are capable of breathing without the assistance of an air compressor. With the chase for the golden toilet beginning this past weekend, I know the community of identifiers. They want to continue this celebration into the fall. But Uncle KC is here to tell ya, the celebration is over. Reality is knocking on the door of the porta potty. The truth is finally coming to the light. The same light that is going to be dimming here in about 12 hours when Caitlin Clark is eliminated from the playoff.
And this issue goes beyond the game. It reflects a deeper problem within the league's promotion strategies. Why is Caitlin Clark so critical to the WNBA's success? Let's break it down. Clark has been nothing short of a sensation, a once-in-a-generation player who can draw crowds and TV ratings like no other. Her rookie season has already made history, becoming the first player in WNBA history to record a 25-point, 5-rebound, and 5-assist performance in a playoff game, a feat only matched by Magic Johnson in the NBA. Clark's numbers are staggering. She averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds during the season, setting multiple rookie records. However, with the Fever's elimination, the WNBA now faces a stark reality. Can they keep the momentum going without their most marketable star? Caitlin Clark's presence has been the primary reason for increased viewership this season. Games featuring Clark consistently brought in larger crowds and TV ratings, and her ability to draw fans to the arena was a breath of fresh air for the league. But now with Clark gone, the WNBA might see a significant drop in fan engagement. Historically, other stars like Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier have commanded attention, but none have had the same widespread appeal as Clark. The Fever's success, largely thanks to Clark, revived interest in the team, with home attendance numbers surging from an average of 1,800 fans to over 17,000 this season. Now that the Fever are out, the WNBA must ask, can other teams and players step up to fill this void? Or are we about to witness a ratings crash? The bigger issue here isn't just about Clark's early exit. It's about how the WNBA has marketed her and the league's other stars. While Clark has captured the imagination of basketball fans across the country, the league and its sponsors have been slow to capitalize on her momentum. It's no secret that Clark is a megastar, yet the marketing push behind her doesn't reflect that. For example, Nike, one of the world's largest sports brands, has yet to release a signature shoe for Clark, despite her dominating the basketball conversation for the past few years.
The WNBA's never had anything. Nothing. Cheryl Miller couldn't really move the needle. Candace Parker couldn't really move the needle. Now they have this woman, and she's made the WNBA relevant. I'm like, why isn't she being promoted? And how did Nike get her at such a reasonable, wasn't that 22 or 32?
$28 million.
$20 million over 8 years. Like, that doesn't add up to me.
Contrast that with LeBron James, who had his own signature shoe by the end of his rookie season in 2003. Why the delay? Some point to cultural and corporate hesitations. Caitlin Clark, as a white player in a predominantly black league, doesn't fit the mold that certain WNBA executives and sponsors have historically promoted. According to insiders, companies like Nike have been slow to build around Clark, fearing backlash or accusations of favoritism over WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson, a longtime Nike athlete.
Why is it happening this way? Now here's the money. Based on conversations with people in the know, it indeed has something to do with the WNBA MVP and Nike athlete A'ja Wilson.
This hesitation could be costing the league and its sponsors valuable opportunities. With Clark gone, the WNBA playoffs risk losing the buzz and excitement they desperately need. Alyssa Thomas, AJ Wilson, and Breanna Stewart are undoubtedly talented players, but can they maintain the same level of viewership? The Connecticut Sun's victory over Indiana marked their 6th consecutive trip to the semifinals, but it wasn't the storyline fans were hoping for. Clark's elimination might lead to a viewer drop-off, especially as the playoffs move forward. Historically, the WNBA has struggled to attract national attention, and without Clark, this year's postseason could fall into the same pattern. The WNBA now faces a critical moment. Caitlin Clark has been described as a generational talent, a player capable of transforming not just her team, but the league as a whole. Yet despite her record-breaking season, it feels like the WNBA missed an opportunity to fully leverage her star power.
Idiots, they're not about business. They're not about growing the WNBA. They're about diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is insanity, what they're doing to Caitlin Clark. It's bad business, it's short-sighted. When this woman exits the playoffs, probably tonight, the WNBA playoffs are over. You wonder why they sat and watched her get stabbed in the eye by Dejanay Carrington and did nothing? They want her out of the playoffs.
Rather than promoting Clark as the new face of the league, marketing efforts have often focused elsewhere. The WNBA still leans heavily on players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, even though it's Clark who is drawing record crowds and making headlines. This isn't to say that Wilson, Stewart, and others don't deserve recognition. They absolutely do. But Clark represents something different. She brings in casual fans, people who don't typically watch the WNBA, and that's something the league needs to grow its audience. Despite the early exit, the Fever have plenty to look forward to in the 2025 season. Clark's dynamic duo with fellow rookie Aaliyah Boston has laid the groundwork for future success. The combination of Clark's playmaking and Boston's dominant inside presence has transformed the Fever from a struggling franchise into a playoff contender. But for the Fever to reach the next level, they'll need more pieces around Clark and Boston. Re-signing guard Kelsey Mitchell will be crucial, as will adding a versatile wing to strengthen their rotation. If they can make the right moves, the Fever have the potential to be a top 4 seed next year, and Clark could lead them deep into the postseason. The WNBA is at a crossroads. Caitlin Clark's playoff exit has left a gaping hole in the postseason narrative, and the league must now find a way to maintain viewer interest without its biggest star. This will require a renewed focus on marketing, better promotion of emerging stars like Clark, and a commitment to growing the league's fan base. Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been nothing short of historic. Breaking records left and right, she became the face of the Indiana Fever's resurgence and quickly turned herself into a household name, even outside the traditional WNBA fan base. Her performance brought in casual fans and created a media buzz around the league that hadn't been seen in years. Clark isn't just another talented player. She's a transformative figure in women's sports. She appeals to a wide demographic, bringing in younger viewers and engaging those who may not have traditionally followed the WNBA. Her ability to perform at a high level while also carrying a major franchise like the Fever is indicative of her potential to continue growing the game. The problem facing the WNBA now is twofold: how to keep the momentum going with Clark out of the playoffs and how to address the larger marketing issues around their emerging stars. For all the buzz surrounding Clark, the league has been slow to fully embrace her as its face. Whether it's hesitancy due to the league's focus on promoting other players like A'ja Wilson or cultural considerations, the fact remains that Caitlin Clark hasn't received the full marketing push she deserves. Nike, for instance, has yet to give Clark her own signature shoe, a missed opportunity given how impactful she has been in her rookie season. In comparison, LeBron James had his signature shoe in his rookie year, showing how quickly brands capitalized on his star power. The same level of urgency hasn't been shown for Clark, which raises questions about how the league and its sponsors are positioning her for long-term success. Now that the Fever are out, the WNBA faces a steep challenge in maintaining viewership and interest for the rest of the playoffs. Alyssa Thomas, A'ja Wilson, and Breanna Stewart are all incredible athletes, but none have captured the casual fans' attention quite like Clark. With Clark gone, the playoffs risk losing a significant portion of their audience, and the league must now rely on other stars to carry the momentum. While Clark's early exit is a disappointment for fans, it also highlights a deeper issue: the league's over-reliance on a single player to drive ratings and attendance. The WNBA needs to find a way to diversify its appeal, ensuring that other stars are just as marketable and engaging for the broader fan base. Despite the disappointing playoff exit, the Indiana Fever's future looks bright with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston as the core of their franchise. Their strong chemistry has turned the Fever from a perennial bottom dweller into a legitimate playoff contender. The offseason will be critical as they look to add key pieces around Clark and Boston to make a deeper playoff run next year. Clark's leadership and resilience were on full display in the final game of the season. Even though the Fever were eliminated, she almost orchestrated a fourth-quarter comeback, showing that she thrives under pressure. As she continues to develop, the Fever could become one of the premier teams in the league, and Clark could lead them to a championship if given the right support. The WNBA is at a pivotal moment. The league must capitalize on the buzz Clark has generated and ensure that her star power doesn't fade in the offseason. This means more aggressive marketing strategies, promoting her in national campaigns, and perhaps even fast-tracking her signature shoe to hit the market sooner rather than later. Additionally, the league must ensure that other emerging stars like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart are given equal attention to avoid over-relying on Clark. The key to sustaining growth will be finding a balance between promoting established players and new faces like Clark, ensuring that the league remains compelling even after its brightest star is eliminated. A significant question remains: will fans tune in next season once Caitlin Clark returns? The answer largely depends on how well the WNBA can maintain interest in the playoffs without her. If the league can find a way to keep viewers engaged with other stars and compelling storylines, then Clark's return next year will only amplify the excitement. However, if ratings plummet and the playoffs lose steam, the league will face an uphill battle in rebuilding momentum in 2025. In conclusion, Caitlin Clark's rookie season may have ended prematurely, but her impact on the WNBA is undeniable. The league now faces the challenge of sustaining fan interest without her, and how they handle this situation could shape the future of women's basketball. If the WNBA can leverage her star power, promote other players effectively, and make strategic off-season moves, they'll be poised for a successful 2025 season with Clark leading the charge.
All the votes are in and it's unanimous.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark was voted WNBA Rookie of the Year. Surprise, surprise. Put up the stats that the league had never seen before. She broke the single-season record with 337 assists, including a league record 19 in one game.
You got me down again.
Imagine the fierce competitiveness of two rising stars reaching its boiling point as Caitlin Clark is declared the unanimous WNBA Rookie of the Year, causing Angel Reese to throw shade at her victory.
It's a basketball play. I can't control the refs. They affected the game obviously a lot tonight. And a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle.
Fans and analysts are taking sides. Was Clark's unanimous win justified, or does Reese have a point? Let's dive into this explosive rivalry and the tension surrounding it, breaking down how these two elite athletes are pushing the limits of competition and controversy in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's Rookie of the Year season has been nothing short of groundbreaking. She not only dominated in her debut, but also shattered records along the way. Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to record multiple triple-doubles in a season and set records for most three-pointers made by a rookie, 122, and most assists in a rookie season, 337. Clark also led the league in assists per game with 8.4, a testament to her remarkable court vision and playmaking ability. Her achievements have made her the face of the Indiana Fever's resurgence, helping the team secure its first playoff appearance since 2016. But it wasn't just individual success. Clark's contributions lifted her team to new heights. The Fever saw a spike in home attendance, largely credited to her star power and impact on the court. Fans flocked to see her in action, and her presence revitalized a franchise that had struggled in recent years. On the other side of the rivalry, Angel Reese has been vocal about her discontent with Clark's Rookie of the Year win. Reese, who had her own impressive rookie campaign, was a key part of LSU's national title run in college, but has found the transition to the WNBA more challenging. While Reese has gained attention for her intensity and play style, she hasn't had the same record-breaking season as Clark. Reese has openly expressed frustration, claiming that the media and fans have overly hyped Clark and downplayed her own accomplishments. She even hinted at her discontent in interviews, noting how difficult it's been to adjust to more frequent losses in the WNBA compared to her collegiate career.
For me and Camille, this is the most we've ever lost in our life. I only lost 7 games in my last 2 years at LSU. So it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of just moving on has been something I try to give myself a little bit of grace.
What makes this rivalry even more intriguing is the history between the two players. Their clash dates back to the 2023 NCAA Finals, when Reese famously mocked Clark with a "you can't see me" gesture after LSU's victory over Iowa. This moment ignited a media firestorm and further fueled the narrative of Reese versus Clark. As the two entered the WNBA, their rivalry has only intensified. Fans and analysts have been quick to draw comparisons, and the debate over who is the better player continues to rage on. Clark's unanimous Rookie of the Year win has become the latest flashpoint in this ongoing feud. What's clear is that the rivalry between Reese and Clark is doing wonders for the WNBA. It's bringing in new viewers, sparking passionate discussions, and creating a buzz that women's basketball hasn't seen in years. Social media has been ablaze with fans taking sides, and the league is benefiting from the increased attention. While Clark may have secured Rookie of the Year, many believe she also deserved to be in the conversation for MVP. Her value to the Fever is undeniable. She transformed a struggling team into a playoff contender in her very first season. Comparisons to NBA legends like LeBron James and Michael Jordan are not unwarranted, as Clark's ability to lead, score, and create for her teammates is already at an elite level. Clark's 769 points this season shattered the rookie scoring record and even eclipsed her teammate Kelsey Mitchell's franchise record. The Fever's offensive system revolves around Clark's ability to create opportunities, whether it's through her deep shooting or her remarkable passing. Analysts have pointed out that Clark's overall contribution to the league goes beyond just stats. She's becoming a symbol of what the future of the WNBA can be. An exciting, fast-paced game that brings in larger crowds and elevates women's sports to new heights. While Reese may be frustrated, her presence in this rivalry shouldn't be overlooked. As fierce competitors, both Reese and Clark have a unique opportunity to push each other to new levels of greatness. Reese has taken on the role of the challenger, determined to prove that she deserves just as much recognition as Clark. However, some critics have pointed out that Reese's defensive game has its flaws, and her struggles in adapting to the WNBA's pace and level of competition may explain why Clark's unanimous win wasn't much of a surprise to those closely following the league. Despite this, Reese has the talent and drive to bounce back, and fans are eager to see how she'll respond next season. Could this rivalry fuel her to take her game to the next level and potentially challenge Clark for future awards? Beyond the rivalry, Clark and Reese's impact on the WNBA cannot be overstated. The league is experiencing a renaissance thanks to these two young stars, and their battles on the court are drawing in new fans. The attention surrounding them is helping to elevate the entire league, sparking debates about marketing, fairness, and how the WNBA should promote its players. As Clark continues to set records and Reese looks to prove herself, the future of women's basketball looks brighter than ever. This rivalry has the potential to be one of the defining stories in WNBA history, and we're only in the early stages. In the end, Caitlin Clark's unanimous Rookie of the Year win has reignited her rivalry with Angel Reese, but it's also brought attention to the growing influence of both players in the WNBA. Clark's historic rookie season has set a new standard for what's possible, and Reese's competitive fire ensures that this battle is far from over. What's clear is that this isn't just about awards. It's about legacy, growth, and the future of the WNBA.